All right, Nick. We're coming in live, and the score is 19-2. Red Legs are looking pretty good. Unfortunately, they do not get any extra wins or any half games because they win by so many, but we've closed in on the we did close in on the National League run differential champion Chicago Cubs tonight, so that's nice to know.
Yeah, it really is all eyes on Arizona. If Arizona can find a way to lose, I think you can make a case it's at least interesting. If Arizona loses.
You know what, though? No matter what, they extended their season tonight.
Yeah.
No matter what. And they also a winning season, which I know maybe is not like a huge deal, but when you look back through this franchise the last 20 years, I think I said it earlier this year on the show. It's only been like a handful of times, so.
Well, don't bury the box score recap stat that's put together for that package. So
fair enough. I didn't know what you had.
Lead.
Didn't know what you had.
Bury the lead.
Hey, you know what you heard? I heard this morning. I heard that if it bleeds, it leads. So Cardinals are bleeding. Cardinals are bleeding.
Could you imagine if you told someone in March, Reds are gonna beat the Cubs 19-2. We'll just assume that's our final for the Cardinals' 91st loss, and the Reds are gonna have a winning season from it.
Yeah.
What a world.
No, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? We got 0-0 in the bottom of the fifth for those that care about that game. That would be the Houston Astros versus the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you're in this chat, you know all the scenarios. I know that for a fact. So not even going to waste my breath. If you're watching this show on a Friday night on September 29th, you know the scenarios.
Cubs are 3-3, but I really
They
don't.
came back.
But I'm not even really worried about that because the Cubs just have to lose one time this weekend.
I don't care.
I
want them buried.
I mean, sure. But that's of the least concern at this point.
Well, they lose tonight, they're pretty much buried too, and I like that. So
that's true. They would be toast no matter.
Yeah, they're toast.
I think they're.
Of course, they're probably toast no matter what.
Yeah.
But
because they don't.
Yellish walks.
Yeah. One thing that I don't know if this is really show worthy or not.
What's that?
And I don't want to. I don't want this to come across as like complaining because like I know like the Reds obviously kind of made their own bed here. But I think that if you're going to come down to these like fluky tiebreakers, you need to have the NL teams and the AL teams versus the AL. Like you need to have an odd number of games. Like the Reds and Diamondbacks had an odd number of games. So you have that tiebreaker. It's a nice clean tiebreaker. Same with the Cubs, right? But when you like, why not play 5 games against the Marlins or 7 games and against every team and like find a way to schedule it that way so you don't have to go to some stupid additional tiebreaker. And I'm not like the Marlins have taken care of business; they've done their job. We can't complain about that, but I do think that piece of it is a little cheap, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't really love tiebreakers in general, but unless it's head-to-head, I could live with a head-to-head tiebreaker.
Yeah, but if you have every team playing an odd number of games, it comes down to head-to-head. And even if it gets to a 3-way, it can just be head-to-head versus all the whoever's in that tiebreaker. And most of the time, you're going to get a real tiebreaker, not a secondary, your record versus the teams in your own division, But, oh well. I need to update a couple things.
Trying to figure out what I'm watching here.
If only David freaking Bednar would have been available back-to-back days.
Yeah, it's not ideal that the Pirates threw out a guy with a 9 ERA there, but that's just part of what you deal with. I mean, that's part of it, you know.
His strength of schedule is very. You need a little more context than just strength of schedule with all these things. All right, 2 for.
Got Contreras coming up for the Brewers with a guy, man on first, 2 outs.
I got a 1-0 count.
The port, yeah, 1-0. I just seen it. You're probably ahead of me by barely, but it's just hilarious. The Cubs bullpen, boy. It's you want to talk about a burning building. they're just trying anybody out there. They're doing whatever they can, man.
Well, it's interesting. I've kind of been thinking about this a lot this week. Like, remember the Cubs at the deadline was, are they selling? Are they?
Yeah, I know.
And like, if you're not going to trade Cody Bellinger, and you're not going to trade Marcus Stroman, you probably should have done a little bit more.
Yeah, they were like half in, half out.
Yeah.
Good point. It's a good point.
Marcus Stroman
also kind of like fell off too pretty hard, so that didn't help. I mean, they probably expected him to be pretty good for the rest of the year, and he just wasn't. They had some injuries too, didn't they? They have a couple guys go down.
Yeah, pitching
like everyone else,
wise.
but
yeah.
That's going to be a ground ball up the middle. Dansby Swanson's a good player, isn't he?
They're a really good defensive team outside of this week. That's something I'm really excited about for the Reds next year. Is I think when you get to the end of the year, I think the Reds' overall team defensive numbers, as long as they do the things we think they're going to do, I think they're going to look a lot better at the end of the year.
It should. You'd like to think they will. I just hope everybody continues to stay healthy. I know that sounds like a goofy thing to say, but
yeah,
it's kind of where I'm at.
Well, I do think we'll have a little bit more depth next year than we had this year. So I think that'll help a little bit with some of that stuff. I'm way off on the J bar here. You take one day off of this, man, and you just kind of forget how to do it. The thing that pissed me off about that Pirates game is, like, I expected the Pirates to lose, but just the way they did, like, come on, like, couldn't you just let me off early, not like give me a hope?
That's just part of it.
Give me hope. Well, maybe the Marlins are really like, Reds in San Francisco after the tarmac.
No, Not the same thing.
They got some 5-hour energies in the 8th inning. No free ads.
I'm so tired of. I mean, here's the thing that cracks me up. I love Craig as much as anybody. He's done awesome on the show, and I got these people in the chat. I mean, these people saying to me that Ellie should have made that double play like it was a routine double play. He took like 5 steps to get to the bag. He had to time up his last step to touch the bag at the perfect time and then throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball to first base to make the out, and everyone wants to tell me that's routine play. Like, come on. That is not a routine play.
My favorite thing about you is this could be a 19-2 game the other way, and this would be our point.
Details matter. I mean, details matter. I played middle infield for a long time, man. This isn't. We win a baseball game. You're ahead of me, as always. I mean, you're like 2 pitches ahead of me somehow. I trust you, by the way. Let's just do a show. How about that? I mean, I'm not going to even watch it. I'm going to trust the fact that you're not lying to me. All right. Looks like. Who's going to take it? Marte? That was really nice of Ellie.
Largest margin of victory since 1999. Wow.
All right, folks. Let's do a show. Well. Your boy here has to be in Toledo in about short 6-hour order. So it's just going to have to be the old soda pop tonight. But I'll do it nonetheless. Reds smash the Cardinals. I mean, if the Cardinals didn't want to play baseball the last 3 days of the season, they certainly don't want to play the last 2 days because tonight was one of those games where you're just begging for mercy. Nick, if we're going to have to do these shows and don't have any chance of making the postseason, then I hope they go all just like that.
Yeah, that was fun. Nice to see the Reds really bring it, in a game where, they're coming off a really, really tough loss on the last time we saw them. There was that video circulating around that was just absolutely heartbreaking to watch. And I thought that video was good. You saw how much these Reds players care. And then you saw how they were able to flip the script and just absolutely go out and demolish a team on the road. As bad as the Cardinals are, you win a baseball game 19-2 against any major league team. It's a hell of a night.
It is a hell of a night. I also want to say why we got a ridiculous amount of people in here, man. You guys are the best. I mean, I know that this thing's dwindling down right in front of our eyes. We'll see if we can get we can get a miracle happening. Currently, the Houston Astros do have 2 on. There is 2 out, but there is 2 on. So maybe the Houston Astros can send a prayer up to the heavens. We can find a way to sweep, and we get lucky. But I do have some major news Sunday. Some major news Sunday is there's a deep drive to center field. That ball is off the top of the wall. I don't think it's out of here. Is it out of here? No one's running to get the baseball, Nick. He's jogging around the bases. They're acting like it's a home run. It is a home run. Here we go. Houston Astros.
Not dead yet?
3-0. 3-0. I got to be honest, Nick. When I watched that, I didn't see it hit above the yellow line. It looked like it hit right below the yellow line, and then all of the Diamondbacks just stood there. So maybe clearly it was over the fence. Not to hijack this show again with a bunch of watch parties, but in all sincerity, I would love to see the replay because I don't think it was over the fence. But I'd love to. I mean, it doesn't matter now. He ran all the way around the bases, but wow. Pretty cool. But before I was rudely interrupted by the Houston Astros, I do want to say Sunday, no matter what, we have some really, really, really big news, and I do want to share that. But I'd like to see it. Did it hit? Where did it hit?
It hit the line.
So it didn't go over?
I think the line is a home run.
Not in my book, though. It's got to go over the line, right?
I don't know.
That's a fun question.
Their stadium's so weird.
Well, you can't challenge it. I don't understand how you would be able to challenge that. He ran all around the bases.
Well, you can still challenge it.
Because the umpires said it was a home run?
I'm sure they can still challenge it. You would have thought they would have stopped him at. Well, I guess usually these calls go the other way. Usually they don't call them home runs on the field.
Exactly. That's what a good umpire would do. That's my point, Nick, is that when I was saying I don't think that was over, but he was just jogging around the bases, and none of the Diamondbacks were running to get the ball.
I don't understand what the Diamondbacks are like. Why would you not just challenge this? Like, why are you?
I don't think it went over the fence. I said it from the start. It didn't. Big brain Trace. I mean, I tell you what. Am I wrong from time to time? Yes, I am.
The line would be in play. You're right. I don't know.
Listen, guys. I'm not going to sit here and toot my own horn all the time, but I'm just saying in real time, I said that ball's not over the fence. And here we sit, slow-mo replay, not a home run. It's a bunch of BS because
they overturned it. But 2 runs still scored.
Okay. I'm cool with that then. I'll live with that.
Mean, yeah.
All right, so it's not a 3-run home run. We're right back to a double.
That's nice that there was only a runner on first and second, though, so it's nice that they did get 2 runs out of that, and they didn't do some ground rule double garbage.
Yes, that's where I was going to go postal right here. On a 19-2 victory, you were going to see Trace go postal on Major League Baseball.
All right. Let's go Dusty.
Yeah, let's go Dusty. Anyways, major news Sunday. The biggest news. So, if you got a chance to tune into that show, I would. All right. I got too many screens, Nick. I don't know how to keep up here. I'm trying to figure out where things are at. But overall, I guess we'll get into the box score recap. I don't know how you're going to do this, Nick, because there's so many things that happen. I mean, this is going to be a novel. This thing is going to be just a novel. What else is there to say outside of that?
Trace, do you have singular up?
Yeah, I can get it up really quickly. How about that?
Because we've got, I have a little extra plan, but I don't want to stop my roll once I get going here.
All right, give me a second.
So I have 2 box score recap graphics.
Gosh.
So I would like you to go back and forth a couple times as I discuss the box score
No
recap.
problem, Nick. If that's what you need, I'm here for you. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to have to get it up.
I'm going to pull up the first one, and then you just kind of switch them around as we go through. So, all right, we ready, folks?
Born ready.
Top of the first, Jonathan India had a leadoff single. Then Christian Encarnacion strand single with 2 outs. And then Nick Martini hit a 3-run bomb to right center field. Home run number 5. Made it 3-0 Reds. Might have saw a little bit of discussion about why Nick Martini was in the lineup before the game started. But I think David Bell might have known what he was doing. Top of the second, Ellie De La Cruz walked. Will Benson tripled. Made it 4-0 Reds. Jonathan India hit a home run, number 17. 6-0 Reds. Spencer Steer hit a solo home run, number 23. Putting Steer just 1 home run behind Joey Votto for the second most ever by a Reds rookie. 7-0 Reds. The Cardinals did get 2 runs in the bottom of the third, but then in the top of the fourth, Noelvi Marte hit his second big league home run, 398 feet, 8-2 Reds. Later in the inning, TJ Friedel had an RBI double, 9-2 Reds. Christian Encarnacion Strand then hit a upper deck home run over Big Mac land, 408 feet to left field, 12-2 Reds. Christian Encarnacion Strand has 7 home runs in his last 10 games and now 13 on the season. And then Tyler Stevenson capped off a 7-run inning with a 428-foot blast to left center field. Number 13 on the season for Stevenson. 14-2 Reds. Brandon Williamson, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 runs. Finished his 2023 season off strong. Obviously, Williamson got a lot of run support, and this was a little bit easier of a pitching environment. But nonetheless, great to see Brandon Williamson finish the year strong. The Reds added 5 more runs in the 8th inning, headlined by an Ellie De La Cruz triple at 111.3 off the bat. Reds took a 19-2 lead, and Carson Spires just called back up today through 3 innings of 1-run shutout baseball. Didn't walk a guy. Reds win 19-2. The Reds' largest win since 1999. And your Cincinnati Reds finished 2023 with a winning season. The Reds, this is just their 6th winning season in the last 23 years. And in just 5 seasons as Reds manager, David Bell is responsible for 3 of those 6 winning seasons. That's your box score recap presented by Betfred Sportsbook.
I knew. I knew. I heard that little dig. I heard that little dig. Before we do the DSC, go ahead.
Oh, and the Padres got eliminated tonight. Didn't want to forget that one.
Before we do the DSC, I just want to let everybody know we have a 1-2 count, bases loaded, 2 outs, top of the 10th inning, and the Chicago Cubs do what the Chicago Cubs do. They strike out to end the inning, and that will do it. The Brewers will come in the home half of the 10th with a Manfred man at second base with a chance to basically just bury the Cubs. Boy, that'd be a fun night. All right, it's the deep fly, drive, whatever we want to call that thing of the game, presented by our good friends at Deep South Commodities. Who else would it be? You guys thought it was going to be CES. I thought it was going to be CES. For all intents and purposes, I thought CES hit his all the way back to Cincinnati, but I guess it landed in the stands. Nick told me that Tyler Stevenson's one actually went farther. So that's what we're going to do. Tyler Stevenson also deserves it. He's had a heck of a tough of a season. It just seems like he just can't find any luck. But this time, he ran into one, 105 miles an hour off the bat, 428 feet, 30-degree launch angle for those that care about things like that. And what it did for the Cincinnati win probability, you might ask, it skyrocketed by 0.2% from 99.6 to 99.8. Reds would lead 14-2. So shout out to Tyler Stevenson. DSC, they are big times. We have like I said before, we have a big announcement on Sunday. We've got a lot of things going on. DSC is a part of that. So big thank you to the Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And again, thank you to John. He said, don't do the ad reads. Don't worry about doing the ad reads the rest of the year. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. Just tell everybody if the Reds make the postseason, we're going to buy $1,000 worth of drinks for the watch party. And you know what? I still want to do the ad reads. Why? Because it feels like that's what we should do. It feels like that's what we should do. It also feels like we're not dead yet. Why? Because I look up, and the Houston Astros are up 2-0. That means they only got to win 2 more games in a row if they win tonight. We'll see if they do it, and the Reds have to win 2 more as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Trace, real quick, it's just really for me, it's just keep it alive another day. And if the Astros win, it makes the ability to keep it alive another day a lot more possible, because that means you just need to win tomorrow, and then you just need one of 2 teams to lose. You need either the Diamondbacks to lose again, or you need the Marlins to lose. And that's a lot less of a tall task than you having to win and one particular team having to lose. So that's why, to me, hey, look, if you can keep it alive until Sunday, you start putting a little bit of pressure on some of these other teams. And, it's kind of like that get it to game 7 or get it to game 162 type mentality at this point.
Cubs.
I got to update this real quick. I got to update this, baby.
Cubs gonna Cub. I mean, what a collapse, everybody. What a meltdown.
Reds are ahead of them in the standings.
Unbelievable. The NL wild card, the Phillies safely in. Top wild card spot. Congratulations to the Phillies. They will be hosting a playoff series. The Diamondbacks currently are down 2-0 to the Houston Astros. They hold a one-game lead on the Marlins. The Marlins did unfortunately win again tonight. Although they didn't win last night, it surely felt like it. And then you have the Reds, who obviously need to sweep the Cardinals to have a chance. But you know what? I'm with you, Nick. That's kind of where I'm at. Let's just survive another day, man. Let's just survive another day. If we can just, imagine this. Like, how cool would it be, whether they make the postseason or not? I get the idea that it doesn't matter at the end of the day if you make it or don't make it, but it would be really neat if we got to the final day of the year with a chance. Now, it might be a long shot. It might require, somebody to lose 3 or 4 games in a row, but that would be pretty neat. And fortunately, if the Astros can hold on, they're only one day away from doing that.
Real quick, before we get into this baseball game, I just wanted to run through the pitchers that the Brewers threw out there tonight against the Cubs, just in case anyone wasn't paying attention. The Brewers, the team that has Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, Brandon Woodruff, Devin Williams, just elite arms. The Cubs got to face Colin Ray, Bryce Wilson, Clayton Andrews, and Caleb Boushley. That was the 4 pitchers in 10 innings that the Milwaukee Brewers threw out there tonight, and the Cubs could not get it done. It's a real shame.
Well, I actually give the Marlins a lot of credit. You know why? Because when you have to go play the Mets, you play the Pirates, you feel like you've seen it with the Reds, too, when they played the Pirates. The Pirates are playing pretty good ball right now, and it's something else to be said when you have to play a team that has nothing to gain. Like they're just playing free and loose, and, who cares if you win or lose? And it's as sad as this is to say, sometimes, or most of the time, honestly, you play your best baseball when you're playing free and you're not really worried about it. And it felt like there for a minute this Reds team did get bogged down, per se, Nick, by the opportunity or by the thought that they had something to lose. And I'm not suggesting the performance tonight was all because they felt like, for all intents and purposes, their season was over. Some of that probably can be put on the fact that they played a team that has the worst record in the National League. However, they did have an outburst tonight, and we'll see if they can continue through with it. But I don't know. It's encouraging to see the fact that the Reds have I don't say they could have rolled over and died, because that's just not who they are. And the other thing that's crazy, whether you want to put some stock in this as well, and we'll get to some super chats in just a second, is this. Our guys play really hard. I don't know if that's appreciated as much as it should be. And I know that all Major League players should play hard. They get paid millions of dollars, if you will, or some do. Most do. Some are on league minimum. But for all intents and purposes, they get paid a lot of money to play a game. You'd like to think that they're going to play hard. That's just, I watched some baseball games. I watched a good amount of baseball games here of late, kind of like scoreboard watching, if you will. And there's a lot of guys that just don't play hard, man. And they don't. So that's one thing I do appreciate about this Reds ball club. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe that's a part of Jonathan India and that leadership style that gets talked about. But, ultimately, I just wanted to point that out.
Jeffrey asks in the chat, important piece of information to this whole last couple days. Do the Astros have anything to play for? So the Astros are 2 games back in the AL West, and they hold a 1-game lead over the Mariners for the final playoff spot. Right now, the Mariners are winning 3-0 over the Rangers. So let's just say, for the case of argument, obviously we know a lot of things can happen in these games late. We saw it all last month. But if those 2 scores held, the Astros would be getting 1 game behind the Texas Rangers for the AL wild card, for the AL West spot, which I believe is actually a first round bye, because remember, the Twins won the AL Central, but they're they only have 86 wins. So they're playing for a lot, and the Mariners are still going to stay only 1 game behind them. So they're going to have to play this out pretty much the rest of the way. And again, don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but Justin Verlander is the probable pitcher tomorrow for the Astros.
Love that. I mean, the Astros are going to be going all in trying to win the division. So we need the Mariners. Mariners keep winning. Good for us. Good for us. Josh Beckley, you are a nut cutter. We appreciate you. Ricky Logan says, not dead yet. Life support. Life support, but we're not dead yet. That is true, Ricky. That is true. Jeffrey Venter says that Dusty Baker is going to get the Reds back in the postseason. How about that? Good point.
One other piece also worth noting. The Astros win the tiebreaker over the Rangers, lose the tiebreaker to the Mariners. Those are both good things because the team they're chasing, they hold the tiebreaker, so they have more reason to play all the way down to the end, even if they're one game back on Sunday. And if the Mariners are one game back on Sunday, they still have to win because, the tiebreakers. So those both fall in the Reds' favor.
Yeah, small little silver linings there for the Reds. Obviously, at the end of it all, you still have to win the games and see if the Houston Astros can't find a way to win tonight. Chi-Town Real Estate says, I feel like I need to pay someone for watching that game. 19 runs on the god-dang Cards. I like that. Kid show. Let's go right in my veins. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the Cardinals have, we all know what the Cardinals have been for most of our lifetimes. I mean, there's a reason that we don't like them, right? There's a reason that we have disdain for the Cardinals and we don't have as much disdain for the Pirates. Why is that? Well, we all know the reason why. And it's nice to see them on the bottom for once. It's nice to see them mopping the floors a little bit, getting a little humble pie, per se. So we'll see if that continues. That'd be nice if it continues. I'll tell you this right now, and I'm not saying I'm worried. Scared's the wrong word to use here. Worried's the wrong word to use here. This division has some good talent. This division's going to be tough. I really do think that. I think the Pirates aren't that far off. I know people think they might laugh at me for saying that. I think if they lose, I know they lose Cruz all year long, and if they had Cruz, how many more wins is he worth? I genuinely think the Pirates are a little bit better than we all might give them credit for. So we'll see what ultimately ends up happening next year, but I just wanted to bring that up as well. I've watched the Pirates play a lot of baseball in the last 15 days, and I mean, they actually have some pretty damn good at-bats for some young guys.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think the Pirates are close. The one advantage the Reds probably have is when the Reds have spent their maximum and the Pirates have spent their maximum, the Reds do outspend the Pirates. So I think the Reds could maybe have a little bit more wiggle room in that regard. But I would not be shocked if it's the Reds and Pirates at the 1 and 2 in the NL Central next year. I'll say it right now. I could absolutely see that because I fascinated to see what the Brewers do. I know I've said this all year. Fascinated to see what they do this offseason with all of their top guys getting into the last year of arbitration. Their playbook, like with Josh Hader, was to trade him before his last year. I wonder if they'll do the same thing with the guys like Burns and Woodruff. So the Cardinals, I mean, I know they've said they're going to be active at the offseason, but they've got a lot of work to do right now, and two of their best players are getting older. Arenado and Goldschmidt. I know they still have a lot of talent, but then the Cubs are just kind of that wild card that you're really not sure where they're at. Are they going to get Cody Bellinger back? If they get Cody Bellinger back, is he Cody Bellinger again? Right. Who knows, right?
It'll be interesting. This offseason is going to be fun for me. Like I said, I don't know if many people I genuinely, Nick, fell out of love with baseball. And I mean that sincerely. I played for so long. It took up my life for pretty much my whole entire life, quite honestly. And then you just kind of got to a point where you just are like, I don't know, man. I've just lived this for way too long. I've been in this for way too long, and stopped watching for a couple years. And obviously, I'd followed the Reds a little bit. But when you're losing, as bad as the Reds were losing, it's not that difficult to miss out on some Reds games. Now, I feel a little sorry for maybe many people that were loyal fans that watched them through and through. But this season, I mean this genuinely, this team specifically. Now, I was going to watch them all no matter what because I made that pact with you and I said I was going to do it. But they made me enjoy watching this game again. They made me love this game again, if you will. Now, would it have mattered if they won 60 games versus 100? Would it all come flooding back? Maybe, maybe not. But I genuinely mean that. I can't tell you how much I appreciate just how much this team's been fun to watch, Nick, and it's been a pleasure doing this show with you, and this chat's been a hell of a fun time. And you know what? Ultimately, the season's not over. We're sitting here, we're watching. Hopefully, the Astros can find a way to continue to win games, and we'll see what ultimately happens. But I just keep bringing that up because I think that's something that we should all remind ourselves about it from time to time as we wind this thing down. Brandon Williamson, let's talk about him really quickly. I think he's a guy that I genuinely think this. I don't think he's our best guy, but I do think he's been our most consistent guy, which is worth something. You know, you for the most part, since the rain game, which I couldn't even tell you what date that was. But since the rain game, I genuinely think Brandon Williamson, in my mind, has not given us all that bad of a start, but maybe one other time. And you can't say that about hardly anybody else. So, I know people will take that the wrong way by me saying that this isn't a slight against Hunter Green. He's been unbelievable in certain spots, but I'm just talking about straight consistency. You know, there's not highs, there's not lows. You just kind of have an even Steven. You're going to give up 3 runs in 5 or 6 innings, and you're going to kind of move on. So, what consistency is worth, Nick? I don't know, but I don't know how you feel about that before we obviously get into the bullpen and things of that nature.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great point because if you watched Williamson last year in the minor leagues, he'd have some really good starts, but he had a lot of blow-up starts, and he did not have a single blow-up start really in the big leagues. I mean, his worst start of the year was 6 runs in 5 2/3 innings against the LA Dodgers, right? He only has 2 other starts where he gave up 5 runs, 5 4 1/3 at the Cubs at Wrigley when the Cubs were playing out of their freaking minds, right? That was that series. And then the other one was that 5 runs in 4 innings at Detroit. But that was his first start coming back off the COVID IL after like a 2-week break. So he really was incredibly consistent this year, which it's so cool to see how he just completely flipped the entire narrative about him. The entire narrative about him was he walks too many guys. Well, this guy at the end of the year, his walk rate's been under 2 for the last like 10 starts. He's completely fixed that part of his game. He's competed. He hasn't let the big inning snowball on him.
Right.
I don't know what to expect out of him in 2024, if I'm being honest. I could see him just keeping to develop and being a really nice, legitimate big league starter. I could see him regressing a little bit, but I feel like he's a big leaguer. And if even if that has to be maybe like a reliever at some point, maybe a multi-inning reliever, that's fine, because I didn't think when he made his debut on May 16th at Colorado that he was really a part of the Reds' future plans, and he's a part of the Reds' future plans now, and that's really, really cool.
Yeah, to add one more point to what you just said, when adversity hits, he didn't fold either, you know? I think that's something that he's done in the past. So you had mentioned, obviously, his walks and things of that nature and no inning snowballing. But what you're really saying in those 2 scenarios is that he really was able to stay composed and he was able to kind of stay within games. When he's had chances this year at the major league level to fold, he's had chances. It's not like he's pitched perfectly every single time. There's been some adversity there, and he was able to persevere. And I respect Williamson. You know, I really do. I think that he's a guy that, like, when I see what his makeup is, I look forward to seeing what he does with it, you know, and I'm with you too. He could come out into spring training next year and kind of revert back to maybe the guy that he was in the minor leagues a couple years ago, and next thing you know, you're back to square zero. But that's why you find out. That's why they play the games. You have Spears in here. Is there Spears?
Well,
Spires? I don't even know how to say this kid's name. Spires, right?
Spires. I had bullpen, but I was looking. I was like, well, there wasn't a bullpen. It was just the Carson Spires show. Now, cool for him. I mean, look, it was a pretty easy spot to pitch in. If we're being honest, in the big leagues, a really bad Cardinals lineup, they took some of their guys out and he had a big lead. But hey, for a guy that just came up today, pitched 3 innings of 1-run ball and 1 hit ball in the big leagues, that's cool. One more point on Williamson, though. Last 10 starts of the season, did not have 1 start where he walked more than 2 batters. That's really cool. That's really cool.
That is cool.
And what Williamson does, Trace, is something that is important, and I know I've said it several times on this show. He gives you another option, and you need to go to spring training any year you were trying to compete, you're trying to be a bona fide playoff team, you need to go to spring training with not 5 starting pitchers, not 6, not 7. I think you need to be 8, 9, 10 starting pitchers. You need to have that amount of depth to where if you have 3 or 4 injuries, you're not calling up
I agree.
Michael Marriott or, whoever else it is. You need that depth, and he really helps you have that depth. And that's one of the biggest wins of this season is that, hey, you look at the starting pitching and you say you have some depth. I think they shouldn't be content with that. I think they should add to that starting pitching depth. I think they should add at least 1, maybe 2 starting pitchers this offseason and just turn that into something that's good, into something that's damn good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're not going to have bullpen. Hopefully, you would like to get in a position where we're not doing bullpen games just out of necessity. We're not throwing Ben Lively out there. We're not bringing up Connor Phillips probably way too soon. There's a lot of things that this year that this Reds team had to do because they just didn't have any other choice. So going into, if you're going to tell me next year going in to be a starting pitching was going to be a problem because they have too many guys, that's plenty. I think we just got like a proposal going on in the Brewers, by the way. There's some wild stuff going on right now. Hey, someone just got married. That's a fact. So congratulations to that guy.
The Diamondbacks game?
No. The some Brewers guy just pretty sure he just.
Are you watching the post game?
I mean, I'm just see it's on a screen. It's on a screen. I mean, I'm just listen, love's in the air, everybody. Love's in the air in Milwaukee. I just wanted to let everybody know that. Congratulations to that guy. I have no idea who he is. So, hey, best of luck to him. Hopefully arbitration's coming up for his wife. But
yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
You know who else? Do it in the postseason?
Yeah, that's a good point. Wanted to get that out of the way. Hey, wanted to get that out of the way. You can make some serious cash in the postseason, folks. I don't know if you know that, but you can make some serious money in the postseason. You actually get paid. You get paid by the MLB when you make the postseason. I don't know if you want to get to Crawl and Meador, I think is how you say that guy's name.
What? Meter.
Meador?
Just Meter.
Meter.
I did the Google speech, and that's what it said.
That's what it said, but you also told me it was Sam Mole, and I'm pretty sure it's Mole.
It's Mole. Mole is how it's pronounced. I know that one because there's actual baseball reference pronunciation on him. Looked it up the day of the trade.
I know you did, but I'm just saying that some announcers that are for the Reds don't call him that. But we'll see. I'm gonna do some hard hitting journalism on that. Chat. Actually, you know what? Let's make it the chat poll question of the day. We hadn't had one of those in a long time. We'll just see what the chat says. I mean, why not? We throttled the Cardinals 19-2. We got to find something to figure out.
Baseball Reference says pronunciation is Mole. So
right.
Maybe Baseball Reference is fake news.
Could be fake news.
There has been several situations in the past, as someone who follows this at a probably unhealthy level, that I know this, where there's been a player that's come up and the guide says their name is pronounced this way, and then they switch halfway through, like 2 months into their career, they're like, yeah, that's not how I pronounce my name, and it does. Ask Tom about that. That would be a fun question. How many players have you had that have had that happen? Because I guarantee it, he's had a few. I can remember one with him. I can't remember the player, but I remember one situation like that. We're way off topic. I feel though, Trace, we should probably talk about the offense. I think we kind of glossed over that.
Well, I mean, yeah. Who do you want to talk about? We could spend an hour.
Well, yeah, when you score 19 runs. I mean, you're the guy who said, please, offense, give me one day. And then you just want to gloss over it when we score 19 runs. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, well, congratulations. Let's see if you can do it again tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. Of course not. That's what some people do, though. That's what some people do. That's how it usually goes. How do I even say this in the chat? Do I just put MALL or MO?
MOLL or MOLE?
Yeah. All right, there we go. Here we go. We'll see what they say. Who do you want to talk about first? I mean, I think CES looked great, man. He shot a ball into right field. I don't want to say that was the most impressive thing, but I actually think if CES has an approach where he's okay with just trying to drive a ball to the backside like he did that first at bat, that kid's going to be a good player. I mean, he's already probably going to be a good player regardless, but if he really just settles in and starts using all fields, because he has power to all fields. It's not like he has to hit the ball down the line to hit it out. He can be special. I don't know. There's so many guys though, dude. It is a little absurd. Noelvi Marte's a stud.
Yeah, I mean, 7 home runs in 10 games for CES. I mean, that's something pretty special right there. I also had that really nice piece of hitting with 2 outs, taking that single in the first inning. It was a 0-0 game at that point, so that was a big single. Yeah, he's come up, he's made adjustments. That's just been really good to see. And really, I guess just my bigger takeaway outside of like Noelvi Marte, man, you feel really good about him right now. And I do want to talk about one more player, but I'll save him, is just how good you feel overall about this offense here at the end of the year. Maybe not the overall production, but just the amount of players in individual spots. You feel like you got a lot of your questions answered, which was what our goal was coming into this year. I feel like just about everyone in the lineup tonight, outside of maybe, Nick Martini, who I don't know though, I might bring him back next year at this point. But I feel like, Ellie De La Cruz, Noelvi Marte, Spencer Steer, TJ Friedl, the list goes on and on. They've proven that they're big leaguers, and that's right. Just it's so cool. It's so cool that we're gonna have these guys on opening day next year. It's gonna be an entirely different set of circumstances for the Reds. I mean, look at the opening day lineup, and I'm not even really criticizing the Reds because where they were at, and I don't think it would have been wise to put like Ellie De La Cruz and Christian Encarnacion Strand, even if they were healthy on the opening day roster. I don't even think it would have been wise to put Matt McLain. I think what they did worked, and maybe it doesn't work as well if you tried to be too aggressive. But you're going to have a team that on opening day has a lineup that's competing every night, and that's what's going to be really, really, really exciting about next year.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that as much as I was screaming and yelling about maybe CES and certainly McLain being on the opening day roster for the Reds, I also think that might have been a little too much to handle a full season this quickly. They kind of I don't say babied them in, but they kind of got their feet wet a little bit here towards the end of the year, and then obviously you still have McLain getting hurt. CES struggled at times, so who knows what his confidence would have been if you brought him up to the big leagues immediately. He got obviously off to an incredible start at the AAA level this year, so maybe that gave him a little more confidence. Who knows? Who ultimately really knows what would have happened, what wouldn't have happened? But I think at this point, maybe it's a good segue into the final here list. A thing that's at least listed on our bar is, you just trust the front office at this point. They've shown that they're capable of finding, young talent, and we have a good plethora of young talent, like it or not. Now, I know that they're all prospects. I understand they're not all proven. I get that the Reds they're not there yet, but for all intents and purposes, this has to be, I would like to think, this has to be the most excited that many Reds fans have felt going into another season with a lot of guys that are still on the roster, if that makes sense. When was the last time? Back 2012? I mean, area, the 2010, 2011, 2012 area. And I would even argue that this crop of prospects, in my opinion, of course, has a brighter future than what that core had. Personally, that's my honest belief system. I think the middle of the field is very important. And again, TJ Friedl goes unheralded a lot of times on this team. But if TJ Friedl can be even half of what he was this year, and then you got McLain and Ellie up the middle and they progress, I think that makes a pretty big difference. And that's not even counting Marte and CES.
Yeah, and on this news with Nick Krall getting promoted to the president, and Meter getting promoted to the GM. Nick Krall in his interview on TV, I mean, he is very clear. This doesn't change anything. Like he wanted to make sure, I'm still the guy calling the shots, which I think most Reds fans, and certainly everyone nationally likes. There's only like a select few, but that's neither here nor there. But I think it's important that they kept these guys. I mean, I think that was I know people go, oh, it'd be nice to bring someone on the outside. Well, when a team does what the Reds did this year, there's a lot of teams that didn't do what the Reds did, right? There's a lot of teams that had disappointing seasons, and they go, okay, well, what are the Reds doing? And, try to go pluck some of their guys. So Nick Krall got a pay raise. See, Trent Rosecrans reported that. Brad Meter, he probably is a guy that was maybe someone that other teams would have wanted. They wanted, hey, what is Cincinnati doing? And even guys below them, I'm sure there's going to be more promotions of guys that are below them that are going to, you get to retain. Because what the Reds are doing, like you said, I'm confident as hell, and I'm as confident as I've ever been in what they're doing. And, could you survive losing a couple of these guys? Sure. But, it's good to keep this whole system intact, or at least as much as you can. And I think that was what this move was about more than anything else.
Yeah, I put out a post that wasn't like even a fact earlier. I quote tweeted the announcement, and this is what I said, and I kind of, was being half-heartedly funny with this, and some of it was serious. Obviously, behind every joke's a little bit of the truth. You should always remember that. That's a life tip right there. I just said, let me explain. Nick Krall, still the general manager. Nick or the organization loved Brad very much and didn't want Brad to leave. So the organization decided to come up with some different titles to give Brad, and they gave Brad a raise. This helps Brad not leave. See associate head coach in college basketball and also college football, right? You have programs that start to rise, Nick, and there's these other programs that are looking at your program and they think, okay, who can I steal? Who can I take? What are they doing differently that we need to be able to do? And I think that's what's happening with the Reds, without question. Somebody's getting, broached, or whatever term you want to use. They're getting a little bit of they're fielding phone calls, if you want to call it that. Their agents are getting calls. And I think, again, Nick Krall is great, right? But Nick, you know as well as I know, in any great organization, there's a lot more to it than just Nick Krall. There's probably a lot of guys that Nick Krall trusts heavily to make the right decision on certain things, and he just goes with that. Now, ultimately, it's Nick Krall's final call. He is the end-all, be-all, yes. But he might trust Brad, or he might have a great working relationship with Brad, and he got wind that somebody else wanted Brad, and he went to the bosses and said, listen, I can't lose this guy. He's my right-hand man, blah, 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 blah. Or the opposite could have happened, where people wanted Nick Krall, and the bosses heard about it, and they said, nope, we're not going to let him go. We're going to give him a raise. He's going to get a better title. And sadly, in a world we live in, Nick, to be honest with you, if you give somebody a little bit more money and you change their title to make it sound a little more important, guess what? It makes them feel appreciated. It makes them feel like, you are paying attention. So that's what I take it as. That's a long-winded way of saying exactly what you said. Nothing's changing outside the fact that they gave two guys a little bit more money, and they told them through a title change that they appreciate them, and they should.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's good.
So, I mean, who knows? Like I said, the blind faith thing that many people think we do, I don't know if it's that. I mean, I don't have blind faith that he's going to make perfect decisions every single time. But when you have a track record here of late that has got you in a position to give us Reds fans a lot of hope, for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to put blind faith in him for a little while. To be honest, that's where I'm at. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, well, then guess what? We're not making the decisions anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter, Like, that's the other funny thing as well with fans. It's like, if you hate Nick Krall, then I guess you just have to suck it up. If you hate David Bell, then I guess you just have to suck it up. They're not going anywhere. David Bell, by the way, another great effort tonight. You got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah,
got thrown out of the game and everything. Got a lot of grit.
He didn't get thrown out of the game.
Oh, they didn't. He didn't throw it out.
It was just Will Benson.
I thought he got thrown out with Will, but no.
Yeah, I did too. I think Sadak did too, but then he went and sat down. I was like, oh, he's still there.
Yeah.
That would be the most David Bell thing ever, to get called out, to get thrown out of a game. You're winning 19-2 and you're clinching a winning season. Like, you don't get to shake hands with everyone.
He's got a quota to uphold, Nick. He's got to keep that status of the most thrown out major league manager in Major League Baseball. So, hey,
and no one taking that. Are we allowed to give David Bell credit for this year?
I think we should. We have not a dead heat. 56% say it should be Mall, and then 44% say it's Mole. It's quite the race. It's quite the race. I'm going to end the poll right now, though. 55-45. Pretty impressive. So I don't know. We'll have to find out. Maybe if we see him at Reds Fest, we'll get it straight from the horse's mouth. Is that what they say? Straight from the horse's mouth? Is that the word? Is that the term?
Straight from the mule's mouth, since it's close to mole.
Is that the real term, though? Is that how you're supposed to say it?
I think so.
Well, what's the point of that? No, what's the actual point of that? I'll look that up while you talk about something else that's important.
I did want to talk about Elly De La Cruz.
Of course, yeah. Why? How could we not talk about him?
It's nice to see Elly finishing the year strong, and he looked really great in the field today. Made some really good plays. The one play falling into the netting, made a leaping catch that was just ridiculous. Just good to see him playing well. And yeah, I'm going to take a victory lap, because I did not give up on Elly De La Cruz this year, and I thought he should play every day to the end of the year. And I think it's going to be important, no matter what happens, that he did play every day to the end of the year, or close to every day until the end of the year. And I think it's just nice to see him probably going to go into the offseason with a little bit more confidence certainly a lot more confidence than he had last week. I just think that's really nice, because it was feeling like, I'll be honest, I didn't want to bench Elly De La Cruz, but I said next to my buddy Joe on Tuesday after that first at bat, the one
where I got taken to the woodshed on that one, brother.
The exact thing I said to him, I didn't want to bench Elly, but I said, man, Elly just needs to get to the offseason. Like, that's like that was what I said. I was just like, he just needs to get to the offseason, reset, and then sure enough, he's just completely flipped it and showed why it's silly to worry about it. And I'm not trying to like downplay people worrying about him, but he can do things that no one else can. And when he gets it right, it just feels like, how could you ever worry about this guy, right? Like he could do that more than like anyone else in this sport probably right now.
I agree. I also want to share some really important information. Straight from the horse's mouth is an expression that began in the 1920s because of horse racing. You can actually go and look at the age of a horse by looking at its mouth. So instead of getting hearsay, you can go straight to the horse's mouth and get it. There you go. Now you learn something. That's why you come to Chatterbox Reds, because you've heard that saying your whole life. You've heard that saying your whole life. You never knew what it really meant, and I just let you know. There you go. You're welcome. Houston 2, Diamondbacks. I guess I should say Arizona. That would be the appropriate way to do it. Houston 2, Arizona 0 currently. There's a leadoff hit. So much for that. I guess up next, do you want to talk about up next? And then we can kind of get into ourselves, so we can get ourselves into a situation here, Nick, where we probably could watch the last outs of this baseball game.
Yeah, we got to write it out. Mark was asking us to write it out. And you know what? When Mark asks something, a loyal listener of this show, we're going to do it.
I don't have to be in Toledo by like 6 a.m., but, besides that, we'll be fine.
Are you doing the show tomorrow night?
Yes, I am. I listen. I have to be.
Are you driving to Toledo and back?
Yes. Listen, I have to drive to Toledo in the morning. I got to show our big video board. I got to show at some tailgate, and then their game starts at 3:30. And then when their game starts at 3:30, I'm allowed to leave. So I should be home by 7 o'clock. First pitch, 7 o'clock.
Wow.
Hey, man.
What a guy.
Got to pay the bills. Who, what, when, where, and why, Nick?
All right, 7:15 tomorrow. Connor Phillips up against Drew Rom. Obviously, it'd be nice to see Phillips finish his year strong. Give me 1 second here. Phillips' last 2 starts has been pretty solid. He got a 3.75 ERA. One thing I really like about his last 2 starts, Trace, he's only walked 4 batters in 12 innings and struck out 16, so that's really good to see. Of course, struck out a career high 9 his last time out, and he also didn't allow a home run his last time out for the first time in his career. Drew Rom, this is a local guy. He pitched in that Apple TV game earlier in the year.
Who could forget?
Attended Highlands High School in Fort Thomas, Kentucky. He was Kentucky's Mr. Baseball in 2018. But the good news is he's been pitching like straight ass of late.
Let's kid show.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm all over the place here. I don't know. I just know he's pitching bad.
He's not good. Just say that.
Okay, here we go. Last 2 starts, he's given up 17 hits in 6 2/3 innings, a 14.85 ERA. So let's send Mr. Drew Rom, local guy, into a miserable way to end his season. There you go. I think we got a super chat.
Oh, we got a super chat. Michael Roth is the man of the hour. Michael, hopefully your family as well. You are legit, man. You are legit, dude. He said 19 and change for 19 Reds runs. Don't care if we make the playoffs, but I love beating the Cardinals' asses. I mean butts. Kid show. If you were in professional sports, Nick and Trace, what jersey number would you pick? It's a good
69.
question. Of course. I mean, of all the numbers, that's the number you're gonna go with. I'm gonna say I would like number 5. If 5's not available, then I would take number 3. So I feel like it just trace and trace seems like the appropriate way to do it. So those are my 2 numbers. Chat is popping off now. Mouse Cop spamming the chat. Mouse Cop, you know what's funny really quickly since we, we're out here just scoreboard watching again. 2 on with 2 out here for the Diamondbacks on the bottom of the 8th. Is YouTube allows you to do something called slow mode. And every time I see it, and it's an option on there, and I never check it, but every time I see it, I do think of Mouse Cop legitimately, because the mode is that you can put in there the amount of seconds that people have to wait between messages. And every time I see that, I'm like, I could just put that on, and that would just ruin Mouse Cop's day. If I just even if it was only like 15 seconds, Mouse Cop wouldn't be able to spam the chat, and Molly would be thrilled to death about it. That's how much I pay attention to the chat. I see what's going on. Also, by the way, I put my kids to bed, and this whole, I don't even know what's going on in the chat tonight. I mean, you guys are wilding out. I ain't gonna. It's late night chat. Leave it to you guys. Anyways, second and third, 2 outs. I guess here we go. I'm just gonna have to do the play-by-play. And you're gonna be ahead of him.
Tommy Pham's
up to the plate. That is true. It's an 0-1 count. Neris comes set, and the pitch. That's gonna be low. Looks like a split finger. I don't know Neris pitches all that well, but it looks like split fingers.
I'm gonna pause this for a minute here.
All right, you pause it so you don't have a reaction ahead of me. Counts even at 1. The Arizona crowd doesn't seem to know what's going on at all. Just a leisurely Friday evening in Phoenix. The 1-1's right down the middle for a strike. Certainly Tommy Pham would want to have that one back. That when I say right down the middle, folks, I mean right down the middle. 1-2. Men on second and third. 2 outs. The set, the pitch. That ball's hit up the middle, and it's a diving play. Spin, the throw. Got him in time. What a play. What a play. One time for the one time, Nick. That ball had base hit written all over it. It looks as if Arizona's thinking about challenging it, but they decide not to, which means he is out. Unbelievable play.
We've had some awesome moments doing these.
We head to the top of the ninth, folks. Houston 2, Arizona 0, and we just got a tie game saving. What would that be? A tie game saving play. What's that kid's name? He's doing all right.
Jeremy Pena.
It's like they just got rid of Carlos Correa and they're like, yeah, here, we'll just take another one. Must be nice. Hopefully the Reds can do that again. You know, that brings you to a point with you.
They're going to do that with Edwin Arroyo. Edwin Arroyo is going to be our Jeremy Pena.
That's what I was going to say to you.
Not for Ellie.
Oh, here we go. Hey, can we be somewhat serious here for a second on that? I know this is a tough conversation and it's something we don't really need to have, but this is what you do when you're trying to wait out a Houston Astros game that you probably shouldn't be watching. But I think I'm starting to get into the mindset where you just don't extend guys. You just ride out everybody's 6 years. You pay them their arbitration. You live with it, and you just keep it moving. Am I being crazy for thinking that? And you go out and you spend money every offseason on trying to patch holes every year.
You pick and choose. I mean,
well, yeah, if you can get Acuna like the Braves did, sure. But I mean.
But no, I mean, look at even some of the other, smaller markets that had success, like Cleveland. Like they extended Jose Ramirez. Now they got a discount, but they extended. They've extended some of their pitchers. You just need to be selective. You can't go out extending everyone. Like as much as I love Spencer Steer, I'm not extending Spencer Steer. Like I'm not extending TJ Friedel. I'm not extending Jonathan India. Like those type of players, the older ones. I think Noelvi Marte is a sneaky good contract extension this offseason because he's young. He's only 21. And that's the want to extend someone, first off, look at their age. If they're under 25, then they are green. That's your green light. Those are the guys you really want to extend. If they're 26, True. 27, probably not. But I think Noelvi Marte, assuming you can't get like Ellie, I think Noelvi Marte would be maybe my number 2 right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's all of them are really good. So we'll see what ultimately ends up happening. But Mark brings up a point and says, let everybody know how you can join. Here's the thing with that, Mark. I'm going to be careful with that because we have a lot of the folks that obviously watch the show every single night, big Reds fans, loyal Chatterbox Reds fans. By all means, if you want to be a Chatterbox member, that's great on YouTube. But we do have a big announcement coming in the off season. I'll just tell you somewhat what it is. I'm not going to be able to get into the full details because I'm going to try to include as much stuff as we possibly can. But once I can kind of get settled in and finalize all the minute details, but the major details are this. Similar to Fever Pitch in a way, and I know people are going to laugh when I say Fever Pitch, but similar to that style. We are going to go all in on some Reds content, not only in the offseason, but going into next year as well. And the idea is to have a small little monthly paywall, but the idea would be to where if you paid for the small monthly paywall annually, it came with 8 tickets. So you could get 4 sets of 2, or you could get 2 sets of 4. Hopefully that makes sense. And it also gives you the opportunity, a pretty good opportunity, to get playoff tickets, whether that be the wild card, whether that be the NLDS, whether that be the NLCS, and God willing, at some point we get to the World Series. It would, if you're in that group, it would give you the opportunity to purchase World Series and or any other playoff tickets at face value. So we're not trying to make money off of it, but I do like the idea of having a group to where we have our own seats, we have our own tickets, and I did already purchase those season tickets, and they are pretty much right behind home plate. I don't know what the actual. Do you know the name of the? It's not the view level, but they're right below that.
Mezzanine.
It's not the mezzanine because that's down the field. It's down the right field. That's down the third base line. They're literally like right behind home plate. They are
view box.
View box. They're view box. So they're view box, and there are row A's. And I think, just to be honest with you, we're trying to make it $20 a month or less. which basically pays for the tickets. The content will be free. But we're going to make the content legit, too. Those are really good tickets. I know. I don't know if you sat up there, Nick, but
yeah, the view box, like if you're thinking like view level and you've been like all the way up and you're like, oh, those aren't good. If you're in that first row of that, it is a really, really good seat. It's like a totally different like feel and view than if you're like in like, row P of the view level. It's a really good seat.
Yep. Heading to the bottom of the ninth here. Heading to the bottom of the ninth. It's not the scout seats, folks, just to be clear. It's not the scout seats. It's not the diamond seats, not the scout seats, not those. It's basically the first seats that are directly above Bally and the play-by-play on radio, 700. So that's pretty much where I was trying to get. And then we have 4 of those seats, and then we have 2 row A view levels. I mean, they had other options. I just didn't want to. I felt like you start spending like $30, $40 a ticket, and it's just kind of a little too expensive. Michael Rolfe, he said. Michael Rolfe said, $20 a month is way more affordable than my $20 a night super chats. As he spends $5 to say that. Michael, man. God love you. I can't wait to meet many of you. We'll have to find something out probably around Reds Fest. We could probably come up with some kind of situation. We'll do some off-season content, but me and Nick, if we're being honest with each other, and we're being honest with many of you, we are running on fumes ourselves a little bit here. So we'll probably take a short hiatus. And then we'll come back with a plan. But as I said before, if you're in the chat tonight, please come back Sunday. Even if the Reds don't win, even if the season's dead, please come back Sunday. It might not be a super long show, but again, I kind of want to make some announcements about things that we're doing, and I think many of you will appreciate it. So I guess I'm begging for once for you guys to come back.
And we certainly, Trace, no matter how much we actually decide to like go live or do shows on a regular basis, if there's any Reds news, we're going to try as quickly as we can to get something up and talk about it and have substantial content about that one way or the other. So like if the Reds sign someone this offseason, if I'm able, I'll try to get on like, within 30 minutes. It might not always happen, depending on where we're at, but we'll definitely, anytime there's something that happens, we'll cover it in one way or the other. I think Ellie De La Cruz caught up. We were on live in like 15 minutes. Like that's right. The kind of stuff we'll definitely try to do this offseason. I'd rather do more of that kind of stuff than just I don't want to do filler stuff. I don't want to do something I'm not really
correct. Yeah, it has to be worthwhile, right? Yeah, it has to be something we think is important. We're not just gonna just do shows to say we're doing shows. The other thing too that I think somewhat important is just trying to be consistent like we have been here. So we're going to try to find something where there's some consistency so it's not just like random. It looks like we got one out, Nick. We got one out?
Yeah, the chat's ahead of me.
Yeah, they are. They're ahead of me as well. So you know what I was a little worried about right there is that catcher almost stepped right on top of his face mask, which would have been bad news, but caught a little bit of a break.
Didn't see it because I was updating that there was one out.
Hell yeah. Nick, you're so elite on Singular. Like when I try to do these shows by myself, and these people are like, I can't keep up. Like
you would be fine. It's really hard when you don't do it. Like when I haven't done it for a couple of days, it's hard to. When I'm in like game 3 of a series and we've done it all 3, I'm like, I'm right on it. There we go. Oh Altuve.
No.
Altuve. Dude.
Not him either, dude. That's the fastest guy in the bunch, bro.
Well, they're up 2, so the runner doesn't really matter. But
Swaggy asks, when will we have a Reed dunk tank? That boy's drowning in misery as we speak. There ain't no doubt about it.
I forgot all about NC.
That's what speed does, though. You know what that proves to me right there? That's what speed does. I mean, yes, that was an error. Yes, it was an error, without question, on Altuve. But the thing about it is like when you look at a box score or you look at any kind of statistical nature right there, and I keep calling him Corbin Burns. This is hilarious. Anyway, Corbin Carroll, 100% forced the issue right there. So,
yeah,
I mean, he should get credit for that somehow, some way. Oh, no. Almost hit him.
Those strikes, buddy.
Why is everybody in the back running around and jumping? They just want to be on TV, maybe? Well, here we go, folks. Tying runs at the plate. Old Uriel swings through strike one to give himself a 1-2 hole. What's Presley's first name?
Ryan.
Ryan.
He's a really, really good closer.
Who's Austin Presley? Why is that? I played with Austin Presley. That's a real thing.
That's why I did not know who that is.
That just happened. Not good.
We need it. Mariners still leading 8-0 over the Rangers.
Carroll? Someone said that wasn't Carroll. Maybe it wasn't. Whoever it was fast. Then damn, that had to be him. That's not him.
They've got a lot of fast runners. What on earth? That was Alec Thomas. He's their center fielder. He's
number 5.
He's crazy fast too. Yeah,
he's 5. Yeah,
that Yankees series, and they had somehow lost 2 games in that series. I swear to God, they made every single play.
Sorry, my apologies. He looked fast. He looked fast, so I made assumptions.
85th percentile in sprint speed.
Yeah. Good pitch.
There we go.
Man.
There we go.
A pitch, dude. It's just a great pitch.
All right, who we got? We got Moreno, their catcher. He's been on fire of late.
Yep, as a reminder, we do have Nick on Nick Crime coming up. We have a dunk, and then it's going to be me begging you to come back better than ever tomorrow for another win. If you can't make tomorrow, that's fine. Please come back Sunday.
I just want to get to Sunday and still be alive. I just want to get to Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be one hell of an accomplishment.
Create chaos.
It is wild. You play 162 games, man, and there's just one. It's a 1-game swing. I mean, what a wild-ass thing that is.
Yeah.
And it's always easy to play the what-ifs about the certain games you could have won, but you always forget about the games you shouldn't have won. It's just it's one of those things. But, boy, I tell you, it's what a wild
those games against the Dodgers that the Reds won, the 2,
yeah.
like the one against the Braves where they came back from like 6 different deficits. They were down 6 runs to the Rangers. Yeah. 6 runs in like the 8th inning to the Rangers.
I mean, like, the Karchard thing. You got Kirk Casale. Kirk Casale literally looks like a hockey goalie back there.
Michael Marriott, what a game with him as the bulk pitcher.
Yeah. What about Brett Kennedy pitching in Washington a couple times? Yeah.
4th of July, baby.
Yeah. What a wild game that was.
All right, 1 strike away.
Get me all sentimental on this season when we start running through all these games. It's kind of a wild thing, isn't it? We've been through hell and back.
It feels like more than 1 season.
Come on, man. Oh no. Did he get it? Did he get it, Nick? Did he get it, Nick? He didn't get it. Pick it up and throw it. Throw it.
That's fine. That run doesn't count.
It doesn't matter. All right.
I mean, yeah, the run doesn't. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
You knew it wasn't going to be easy. Oh, man. All right, where are we at in the lineup? We are at...
Who says tie game? Please tell me you're not ahead. Please tell me you're not ahead.
I closed the chat.
All right. I don't think it's a tie game. I think they just
It's not tied. I just pulled up game day.
Yeah, all right. I don't think it is. Hey, can we all say
Jace,
can we all just
Jace
say
Peterson.
can we all just say thank you very much that probably is a home run in like 27 out of the 30 parks right there.
Yeah. All right. Jace Peterson. Come on.
I feel like I'm gonna have to do play-by-play because every time I do play-by-play, something good happens.
I'm stepping to the Trace, take it away.
Yeah. Jace Peterson's 1 for 3 with a strikeout in his career versus Ryan Presley. Presley stands in to face Jace Peterson. 1 for 2 on the night. Man on second base. 2 outs. Houston trying to keep up with the Rangers. The Diamondbacks trying to punch their ticket into the postseason. Peterson lays off a pitch down in the dirt. That'll make the count 1 ball, no strikes.
Chip, the margin for error in these games is just it's so minuscule, isn't it? It's just so minuscule.
Some call it paper thin. I like calling it razor thin. The 1-0 swung on and fouled off, and you know what they say. Every good broadcaster says it. Jace Peterson and the Arizona Diamondbacks are down to their final strike. Although he's not, because it's a 1-1 count.
I was like, did Fubu start?
No, I don't have a good grasp on this this scoreboard ticker because it says one for 2 right above it, and I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. The 1-1 misses down and in. That'll run the count to 2-1.
Are you watching the Diamondbacks broadcast? I got the Astros broadcast on.
I got the Astros broadcast on. I thought. I got like a bell icon over there. Anyways,
yeah, that's
the 2-1 pitch. That's a ground ball to second base. It should be an out. Altuve to first, and that will do it. The Houston Astros keep the Cincinnati Reds alive. They win 2-1, and we are 2 Diamondback losses and 2 Reds wins away. 2 Diamondback losses and 2 Reds win away. I'll say it one last time. It's going to be 2 Diamondback losses and 2 Reds wins away. That's what it's going to take. We still do have an outside shots with the Pirates, but I'll be honest for a half a second. That one's not looking so good. Nick, we're still alive, man. We're still alive. We just got a super chat from Mott Fish Flakes. What a name that is. Said, I'm going to be at the game Sunday. My heart says it's going to mean something. I hope it does mean something for you, Flash Flakes. Fish Flakes. Nick, got a pillow around? Somewhere? By the way, your wife's elite. What a goat play that was.
I knew that was coming. It was really hard to keep that one in. But I knew it would be such a moment. I was like, please just win one of these games. Like, that would have been awful if they.
That would have been. That was an elite swipe by you, by the way.
What a season. I mean, how did that just happen? Like, you played for this show, and we tried to have certain things we wanted to do, and then really, like 90% of the show just like took off on its own, right? Like, organically.
Yeah, we didn't have plans to do anything.
We didn't plan half this shit.
Nope. No, we didn't. It's why it's all fun and cool. Like, this is all really, really fun. And I actually genuinely believe it's going to get a lot better. I really do. I think that this show is going to be elite. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to keep continuing to get better. Again, as a special shout out to Betfred Sportsbook, loyal partner to us, and also DSC, Deep South Commodities. I can't emphasize this enough. We have 290 people in here on a Friday night. The Reds aren't eliminated. Yes, I get that. But you guys are elite, man. You support this show thick or thin. We can't tell you how much you're appreciated. You're going to give us a chance to do some really cool things. And the thing that I was getting ready to say earlier that I don't want to spoil what I'm going to say on Friday, or on Sunday, excuse me, is I really do think that that your support, genuinely, you watching this show, you hitting that like button is going to allow us humbly, and I don't say this like braggadociously anyway, humbly provide the best Reds content in the world. And I don't say that lightly. I really don't say that lightly. I think that what we're doing here, we can and we will create and have a spot where you can find the best Reds content in the world. Now, I know that's a big statement, but I really do believe that. So Friday, I keep saying that. Sunday, we'll have some announcements on what the plans are with that, and I can't wait for it. Hopefully the Reds can find a way to just keep winning, Nick. That's all. Just keep winning. You keep winning, you give yourself a chance, right?
Yeah, so let me see if I can find tomorrow's starters elsewhere. I'm assuming the Diamondbacks will go with Merrill Kelly. I know they hadn't announced their starter, but I think they were not going to announce him because if they clinched, they weren't going to pitch him because they would save him for game 1. So I think it'll be Merrill Kelly against Justin Verlander. I have it here. There we go. That's the schedule tomorrow. And then have the Pirates or anyone announce starters. Let's see.
I love that the Stros and the Diamondbacks come on after the Reds.
Yeah, we'll have another. Yeah, we'll have another thing maybe to watch. I mean, the Reds have to win. If the Reds lose, they are done.
Yeah, so, we know that. Yep.
But the Pirates have Quinn Priester on the mound. He looked pretty good at times in that start against the Reds on Sunday. His last start, and then it looks like the Marlins are going with a bullpen game tomorrow. They have a reliever starting the game, so
yeah,
live to see another day. I think if you win, I think you're going to have you should have pretty good chance that one of those teams lose. I mean, that's possible. So
I agree.
Get to Sunday.
I think that the Cincinnati Reds are going to get to the final game of the season, game 162. And they're going to find themselves in a position where they are still mathematically not eliminated. That is going to be one hell of an accomplishment. And maybe maybe they'll get lucky and they'll find a way to get in. We shall see. All right, it's that time of the show. I'm going to dunk a basketball. I'm going to tell you all that you're very much appreciated because you are. I can't tell you how much this show's been a blast, man. What a blast. It seems like it's winding down, maybe coming to an end, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe not. Who knows? All I know is that I appreciate you. I love you. This show means a lot to all of us, and I can't wait for Sunday because Sunday is going to be a special day regardless. I promise you, it's going to be a special day regardless. Hope you join us. In the meantime, I'm going to go dunk a basketball. I'm going to do my best to be an athlete. There's a lot of athletes the Cincinnati Reds have. Shout out Nick Craw for that. And Brad. Don't forget Brad. He got a raise too, you know. Athlete.